campaign again. A lot of people didn't even know that a student giving a Bible to another student was legal until people stood up for the constitutional rights they still have. And so that's part of why we exist, is to educate, equip, and activate Christians to get involved in their culture.
All right, you're listening to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. You guys think we're going to go to, we humans are going to go to Mars soon?
I wouldn't say soon, but at some point we will.
I think it's possible that we might land. I'm just going to be honest. And I like science fiction. I'm just not sure that that's possible to pull off with the cost. It is so far to get there. And, when people land there and start trying to set up a compound, there's no rescue like Elon Musk did with the folks, the 2 astronauts that were stranded in space. You're just there on Mars. I think it's...
All right, the reason I brought this, I'd like to raise thoughts here. The reason I brought this up, Elon Musk wrote in a post on his social media platform X in mid-March that a SpaceX Starship, that's his company, will depart for the red planet Mars at the end of 2026, carrying Optimus, Tesla's humanoid robot. So a humanoid robot's going up to go into. You go over to Mars. You go up to Mars.
Well, both. You go up and down.
Yeah.
Okay, I
You got to get up, and then
Are you going down to Mars? Is Mars down
Go
south?
up, turn right.
In the solar system, I don't know.
Turn right.
Turn right. When you see the moon,
Turn
take
right. Hard right.
No,
Take
wait.
a right.
You get to Jupiter, you've gone just a bit too far.
Have I got this right?
Yes.
Anyway,
Turn
get
on
to the
Siri
moon.
and just follow the Siri direction.
If you go to Venus, you've gone too far.
Yeah.
You need to
That's
turn
right.
around.
Venus is the wrong. You've turned the wrong direction.
Turn left. Listen,
So-
I will say this.
Hold on, let me
Okay.
finish this. And then, so Musk predicted that if the missions go well, humans could start landing on Mars as soon as 2029, although 2031, he said, is more likely.
Okay, yeah, I think it. Like I said, I think it's possible for humans to land on Mars.
Right.
But in terms of colonizing Mars,
Yeah.
now I will say this: if they find a way to be able to extract water, if they find that there is still water on Mars, and they find out a technological way to extract water, that is one of the huge obstacles to having human colonies on Mars. Is having
Well, there's only
source
so
of
much
water.
Dasani you can put on a
That's exactly right.
on a
You
spaceship.
can't run out of water or oxygen.
Right.
By the way, Musk he must be a Transformers fan because the name of their robot
Optimus.
is yeah, Optimus
Go
Prime.
ahead, Ray. What are you going to say?
I mean, it's a crazy idea. First of all, don't doubt that Elon Musk and his people are going to send the robot up there. Maybe people are going to go. But Ed, that word colony,
Yes.
that's like a word from science fiction, a colony on Mars. So,
Yeah.
Ed, would you consider getting a timeshare on Mars?
No, absolutely not.
Never get
First
out.
of all-
We can make you a deal
First-
right now today.
First of all, I don't even want to move to Minnesota.
Would
By
you
the way,
self-deport to Mars?
no. And by the way, someone who's listening texted, and he said, "Turn right at the Dollar General."
There you go.
And then you're on your way to Mars.
Yeah.
So, listen, you don't want me. I'm not the kind of person who thinks big like Elon Musk. I guess if there's anyone who can figure out a way to do it, he
Right.
will. And maybe there's supplies of minerals there. But see, that's all those obstacles have to be conquered and overcome. If there are minerals on Mars, you have to figure you can't put them on a transport ship and then you get them to the U.S. or you get them when you're gonna have bases on the moon.
Is will Amazon deliver to Mars?
How do you make the mineral
Two-day
pay off
delivery.
if you're gonna do that? And so maybe
July 12th, as a matter of fact, the Ark Encounter in northern Kentucky will host 3 of America's astronaut heroes. One of them was
Katie Merritt?
No, she's not going to be there. But Captain Mary Wilmore, who spent far more time stuck in space than Katie Merritt ever did, he's going to be one of the astronauts there, as is Colonel Jeffrey Williams. He made many trips to space over his career. And then General Charlie Duke, he's one of the men that walked on the moon. There's only like 4 guys still with us that walked on the moon. And I've got some audio here from Ken Ham on American Family Radio talking about the Ark Encounter and this event that they're branding the Astronaut Encounter. Clip 9.
I met Larry many years ago, and I've spoken with him in Mexico, and he's been involved in Christian missions of getting Bibles to people in the Amazon and speaking in prisons around the world and speaking for Answers in Genesis, speaking here at our conferences. And then I also was able to meet Charlie Duke. Now, Charlie Duke, he's only one of 12 men who walked on the moon. He was the youngest astronaut ever to walk on the moon, and he's only one of 4 still alive that walked on the moon. And he's a wonderful Christian man and does speaking. He became an on-fire Christian after the Apollo 16 mission. And then there was Colonel Jeff Williams, who I met, who's a retired astronaut, and he has more photographs in space than any other astronaut. He's published them in a book, and he's a wonderful Christian involved in Christian ministry.
I do have to say that Ken is wanting people to register for this event, so do go online, just Google or whatever web search, Astronaut Encounter at the Ark, and you'll find that information.
So the guy who was stranded up in space, he's a strong Christian.
Yes.
Right.
And that was Ken Ham talking to The Stand Radio on AFR. You can find the podcast on AFR.net.
All right, you're listening to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. So just to wrap this up on the Mars thing.
Here we go, folks.
I'm fascinated by this because Elon Musk is one of those people, and they're extremely rare, where you go, at least I do, when he says something that sounds outlandish, I still pay attention to it because he's accomplished outlandish things in his career.
Yes.
Okay, so and he's not one to he deals in what he knows too. And so they do have a humanoid. The reason they call it by they, I'm talking about his company, which is Starlink. His company's called anyway, whatever his rocket company is called. What's it called? SpaceX, yeah. Anyway, they've developed this robot that looks like it's got 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, and a torso. It looks like a human.
Yeah.
That's why they call it. So they developed this, and so they're that
is cool.
Yeah, that's the robot they're going to send up in the ship going to Mars.
Yeah, and then what's going to happen is those robots that you just showed me the picture of, they're going to build a colony up there, and then in 25 years they will invade Earth.
They're not going to wait. They're not going to wait 25 years.
Yeah.
They're
Anyway,
10 years.
Hey, they're going to send this in the end of 2026.
Well, look,
we'll see if that happens or not.
I am not a visionary. I'm the guy who would have told Christopher Columbus, don't even bother. You're never going to find a trade route to
Yes.
Wait.
The National Weather Service in Fort Worth has issued a flash flood warning for Collin County in north central Texas, Dallas County in north central Texas, Ellis County in north central Texas, Rockwall County in north central Texas until 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. At 10:40 a.m. Central Daylight Time, Doppler radar and automated wind gauges indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between 0.5 and 1.5 inches of rain have fallen. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. Hazard: flash flooding caused by thunderstorms. Source: radar and automated gauges. Impact: flooding of small creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets, and underpasses, as well as other poor drainage and low-lying areas. Some locations that will experience flash flooding include Dallas, Plano, Garland, Irving, Grand Prairie, Mesquite, McKinney, Carrollton, Frisco, Richardson, Louisville, Allen, Flower Mound, Mansfield, Rowlett, DeSoto, Grapevine, Cedar Hill, Wiley, and Coppell. Turn around. Don't drown when encountering flooded roads. Most flood deaths occur in vehicles. Be aware of your surroundings and do not drive on flooded roads.
Yeah. All right, next story, Chris.
I did look it up a minute ago. If anybody's curious, Mars is only 137.72 million miles away from Earth.
Okay, so
Just a short trip.
how million miles was just a simple metaphor.
And nowhere to pull over
That's right.
Yeah.
if you want to stretch your legs.
So turn right at the Dollar General. Don't turn left, or you will
Yes.
make a big
Yes.
Well, and you know, one of the things we saw, Chris, look up how long it would take to get for humans to get to Mars. Okay, but
I don't
here's
think humans is going. Humans aren't going.
well that
Oh,
is that absolutely is
What?
Elon Musk's idea.
Yeah.
Is ultimately to get humans to Mars and to establish a colony. But the point I want to make before you give the answer to that question, Chris, is that the 9 months that those two astronauts were stuck in space, they talked about how not having that gravity here on Earth can be bad for your bones. I mean, there are biological issues that develop on a long journey for humans to Mars. So what would you find out?
All right, so I do a web search. How long would it take for humans to get to Mars? And artificial intelligence is telling me that a one-way trip to Mars could take astronauts anywhere from 7 to 10 months, depending on the trajectory and propulsion methods used. A round trip, including time on the Martian surface and the return journey to Earth, could take between 2 and 3 years.
Okay, that's quicker than I thought.
I thought so too.
I'll be honest.
I've always envisioned like it's up there for like 2 years, and you hop out of the spaceship and you got like a big beard. Yeah.
All right, so
Nobody's signing up for that.
no, let's
Somebody will.
yeah. If they get, I think what Elon Musk is thinking is that you get robots. You could have robots
Robots, yes.
set up living quarters
Yeah.
and water, something to maybe extract water, those kinds of things
How in the world would you control robots
before people get there.
from Earth on Mars?
Well, you have to program them to do certain tasks.
I can do that. I can do the programming to do certain tasks. It's just their attitude. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, you can. That make work even
No,
for
they
robots. They don't
just
appreciate that.
Or they just don't listen to you.
40 and 50 years ago, it was not uncommon where you saw something advertised on television with so-called space age technology.
Yeah.
Like now we're going to
Like
see
razor
Mars
blades.
age technology and whatnot.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see whether it happens. I mean, the 2026 is a year and a half from now. He's saying that they're going to launch a robot to Mars.
Well, and it looked like from the picture you had
Yeah.
that those robots are already created.
Yeah. That's right. You can look it up.
Where was this article?
I found it on Fox.
All right. Well,
Fox
maybe we
News.
can post that so folks can take a look at the.
Meanwhile, back here on Earth, Brian Kemp, the governor of
Yes.
Georgia, has decided not to run for Senate, which
Yes.
is a big blow to the Republican
I'll post
Party.
the link for you.
And let me tell you here, this Mars thing. You get Brian Kemp on Mars.
Well, that's what he said. He said, instead of running for Senate, I would rather go to Mars.
Hey, no joke.
quote,
This may be
and
something
so-
that Brian and Stacy might agree on because she's a big Star Trek fan.
She
Stacey
is?
Abrams. Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary to make fun of her.
No. I'm saying she might be into,
Oh, you said she was a big.
She's a big Star
Hey,
Trek
yeah.
fan.
Whoa.
Never mind. I misunderstood.
She's a
that.
Trekkie, is what I'm
Big
trying to
Oh,
say.
okay.
Tricky. Okay, which is Star Trek fan.
Yes.
Listen, were you aware of that situation over in Georgia? Right?
Yeah, I was reading about it. So Brian Kemp was going to win, right?
He's
He was-
two-time governor.
Right, and very popular. Very,
Yeah.
and he and Trump, you know, they had a falling out and they patched it back up. And I think Trump wanted him to run. So some people say he's not going to run for the Senate because he wants to make a run for the White House in 28. Who knows?
Oh, is that right? Is that what this?
That's what people are saying.
Okay. Well, that
Okay.
First man since Carter from Georgia, if he were to win.
So who's the best candidate if he's not?
Well, okay, so Georgia is has always been a conservative state, and statewide Republicans have always done well since the 70s. So, well, maybe 80s, since Reagan. But now, the Democrat Party has won 2 statewide elections for the Senate. You know, seats. They narrowly beat the Republican candidates, but they still did do that. But I think it's Republicans for the taking if they have a halfway decent candidate. And Brian Kemp certainly was more than halfway decent. He was a twice elected governor and a popular governor of the state of Georgia, and he probably would have been favored to win that Senate seat against what's the fellow's name here? The
John
Democrat?
Ossoff.
Yeah, who's a Democrat over there. So I don't know. You're right to your point. I don't know enough about. I'll find out and ask some friends about who in Georgia would be next up running for Senate. On
Well,
the Republican
the
side.
name that was kicked around in one.
The National Weather Service in Fort Worth has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Rockwall County in north central Texas, northwestern Kaufman County in north central Texas, Collin County in north central Texas, eastern Dallas County in north central Texas, until 11:45 a.m. Central Daylight Time. At 10:55 a.m. Central Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm was located over Bulk Springs, moving north at 30 miles per hour. Another severe thunderstorm was located near Lucas, moving north at 30 miles